Hey everyone, I'm here. I'm here. Just trying to make sure I got my displays correct. I gotta share this quickly so that everybody knows. Spread the word around. Severe storms happening right now in Sarnia, Ontario. This is the beginning, severe warning storm. This is the beginning of our show. Yes. And I'm actually cooking food right now. So I'm going to just turn the radar on for a minute once I post this. And uh, just show you that radar feed before I come in here. And if you know people in this area, please let them know a dangerous thunderstorm is passing through the region, moving eastward, moving mostly eastward. So here we are live. I'm Joey, only Caribou Weather Dude. It's 11 in the morning here, but it's not in Ontario. It's 2:11 in the afternoon. And I did already, as you are aware, I did already do a stream a little while ago about the thunderstorm watches in Ontario. And I said that if there was severe thunderstorm warnings issued, that I would be the guy that gets myself onto here. So I'm just going to turn the window off for a second, turn display on, and we're going to head over to our area of concern. So we got severe thunderstorms. Where are these warnings for? New York State. So let's have a look at all these different warnings that are going on right now. New York State, Rochester. So some of those will affect south shore of Lake Ontario. There's possibility of some strong thunderstorm development in Kingston still later today. That's something that I've been noticing. Special marine weather statement for Lake Ontario. So as these storms cross, anybody who's out on the lake is going to have a real fun show of it. Pretty good looking storm over Toronto right now, although I'm not seeing lightning in it. Rainfall definitely in there. Some of these things in the States show that some of these storms are pretty strong, definitely pretty strong, right? Severe thunderstorm Canada, well, that's for all this area this warning. Definitely along the front of this line, I would expect to see some pretty good winds. So definitely we're not talking tornado development, at least not yet, and maybe not be. But if there is to be an area, I would keep an eye on this section here in the south. Strong storms are developing in Chatham too. I'm not seeing a lot of lightning yet on this. Do I have is lightning on? Yeah, lightning is on. So we will pick it up if it's in there. So that's interesting that we're not seeing fresh lightning on here yet. To watch for, I think, too, is Chatham area all the way down through Windsor today. Some of these cells that come across, I think, have the potential to get pretty strong. I would expect this here to be, this bulge to be some pretty good winds in that, along that gust front. So let's have a look at velocity and see if we can see anything. So yeah, we definitely have a change in the velocity there. What does that tell you? That tells you that along that front, there is some very strong winds, right? And we can see where that kind of breaks all along this leading edge. So not terribly developed severe storm warning, but some of these, what's this? This is getting deeper. So outside Strathroy, we'll see how long this stays in effect. It's got a 2-hour and 43-minute window still. And of course the cat wants in. Here's another one to look out for. This is down in Ohio. And we see the track of these storms. And these are the ones that I'm concerned are going to move into southern Ontario later today and could be pretty strong. So far, there's not been a lot of tornado activity today of any kind along this, so it's become really a straight line show mostly. There's been some warnings and stuff, but nothing explosive quite the way we thought. But it's early, and it's early, right? So don't by any means expect that what we see early mean 4 to 8 p.m. is that time, right? It's that time that storms really like to. So I'm not seeing a lot of lightning in here. So that's good news for the severe warned storm so far. That means it's not exploding with energy. Yeah, okay, that's not on. Nairn. I'm wondering, how long this warning will last. This is probably their area of concern. Might see some hail developing, and it's probably not going to stay warned for a long time, even though it says 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's definitely our ones that's definitely our area of concern right now, though. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these areas along the edge too could show up a little bit. I just want to take a quick look at the lightning detectors for myself. We have tons of thunderstorm activity in southern Ontario, though. Look at that, all from Toronto to Ottawa and then up. So these ones are producing a lot of lightning, and they're the severe warned ones. But if we go eastern Ontario side and look what's going on, we have lots of thunderstorm development in here. Some pretty strong storms, some of them. Definitely I've seen people in Ottawa did hear some rumbles from those last ones. I want to find a bigger radar. The American radar here has a bigger look at everything. Oops. Well, here's all of our current thunderstorm activity. For how much lightning is in the Canadian detector, I've still not seen a whole lot. I just want a little smaller. There you go. Still not seeing a whole lot showing up in here on my radar. So, how strong are these storms? I don't know. Not very. It's kind of just like a blob area. And what's going on, though, is we have freezing rain still happening all along that break. So just going a little bit into New York State, and then up through Brockville, Smith Falls, up to Lanark, South Calabogie, right, towards Bancroft, and up. Freezing rain happening in that area right now. That red indicates that. So that's something where it says mix, because the radar can't tell if it's freezing rain or not, And definitely some of these cells are pretty interesting. This guy just south of Tweed, small and tall. These ones down just close to Prince Edward County. Strong looking, tall. Maybe there's hail in those ones. So we see all this activity in Eastern Ontario. These aren't the warned ones, but we do have special marine statements on the American side. So we know that some of these are pretty good storms. They're really, the closer to the lakes I think you are today, some of the better ones you're going to see. But we do have thunderstorm activity up this way as well right now. We're going to switch to the sky. Have a look. Here's our precipitation depiction. You can see once again that freezing rain line up through Barry's Bay. That's east side of Algonquin Park. You know, a little bit of a mix through there. Currently North Bay, not seeing any precipitation. Heavy precipitation though. If you look at this area here, outside Sudbury, that looks gross. You know, that looks very gross. So I'm sure there's some strong rainfall happening, and it's probably accumulating some ice. Yeah, Espanola. Here's some of the same areas we've seen thunderstorm activity at nighttime when this first began. Whitefish lively. Sudbury itself getting some right now. You can tell where those storms are on reflectivity. So for whatever reason, I'm not seeing my lightning on here, and I don't think that doesn't mean there isn't any. I just think there's something going on that I'm not aware of. Because I should be seeing, according to Environment Canada, lightning in here. Those are pretty, you know, mostly rain. A lot of these areas, right? Maybe there's some lightning in there, but they're not. Those aren't really strong thunderstorms of any sort at this point. But definitely in Eastern Ontario, Caledar, Plevna, and we know that there's a line in there. Yes, Meowie. There's a line in there where the freezing rain's happening. Stay off the highways. Okay, cat, come in, come in, come in, come on, come on, come on. No, you don't need to take 5 seconds, 10, 20 seconds to say hi. You just come on in, kitty. Let's go back to our severe warning, Canada. Now we see some of these. That's looking a little bit better. Florence. Turn off the precipitation depiction. Put on reflectivity. Again, I don't know why I'm not seeing lightning turn up in here. So maybe what I'll do is no, I'm not going to change anything. Strong storms, Denfield, Elisa Craig, Nairn, West McGilvery. Looks like Coldstream, Poplar Hill. You are in the look next. This is interesting to me here. I don't know what's going on. Looks a little bit like possibly some inflow into the front of this little storm. That might be the spot to kind of watch right now. I think if you are near Strathroy, Poplar Hill, Coldstream, this cell looks fairly chunky. I don't think that's indicative of tornado formation, although you could read into that and see that. I don't think that's what's going on necessarily, but I think there's probably some good winds. Maybe though. I mean, I'm gonna watch that. It's definitely an interesting little bulge out. And I would think that if there's anything really exciting going on, Environment Canada will upgrade their statements in some manner. But that's where I would watch right now. Anybody near Coldstream, Poplar Hill, it's just north of Strathroy. It's on the 402 right now, basically. And there's nothing too meaty in here until it gets to London, right? So that's still 30 kilometers outside London. It's approaching London though. How fast? Let's find out. Let's get an animation of what the storm's done so far as it came through. Here it's showing up. Bam. So this gives us a bit of a speed in every 5 minutes how fast this is moving. It's moving pretty fast across. So London, when will you see this? I'm guessing at that rate, half hour. Maybe that line's going to start coming through. And we'll probably see some expansion. It looks like we've had an expansion of the warnings, yes. So secondary warning now. It's capable of producing very strong wind gusts, nickel-sized hail. So severe thunderstorm warning now in effect. And that includes everybody in London. Let's look at this intelligently. So it's coming through Welburn, Bryanston, Isleton, Arva, Lobo, Kamoka, Mount Bridges, Melbourne, Apen, Glencoe, Newbury. You are all the first to get it. It's going to go through Oneida Nation, Chippewa, the Thames, London. You are in the target zone. That's the biggest immediate community. Of course, London, several 100,000 people. So anybody living in London, be aware. We got very strong storm. And this still, to me, is very interesting what's going on here. So I would think this is your area of biggest concern right now. Is anybody who's, if you're in Poplar Hill, Coldstream, you're probably seeing a very strong thunderstorm right here. And that looks like some kind of an inflow notch. I don't think there's a tornado going on. No, I don't. But definitely that tells me that storm is feeding. That storm is feeding. And it's producing strong winds along the front. So as this comes in, one of your concerns will be just the velocity of the gust front. I need to get there's probably some hail in here. Let's see. Not yet. Not that we know of. That's an area to watch out for. Poplar Hill, Coldstream. You are just about to see it. People there? Let them know. Bad thunderstorm's about to hit them. Again, that sort of inflow notch. So what does this mean to me? I mean, I doubt, again, this tornado going on in here. But you could see some pretty extreme wind events still happen in there, right? You could see downdrafts that are quite strong. That is completely in the realm of possibility. Anything like that, that's concerning. Definitely concerning. And that really is kind of heading towards London. And it's doing so pretty quickly, right? We'll go back a couple animations. At 2 p.m. Ontario time, 2:11, 2:17, 2:23, and Poplar Hill. When we get the next feed, we'll see that storm in just a matter of minutes. That storm is on Poplar Hill. Little community just north of 402, Highway 402, which takes you to Sarnia. I got a ride hitchhiking from a police officer there once. True story. I was on the highway. This is like 25 years ago. I was on the highway where I shouldn't be, where it's illegal to be, and but I was like, hadn't got a ride all day, and I was so thirsty, and I just didn't know what to do anymore. So I just went out there, and first thing that comes along is a cop who jams over. But then he ends up being this like total dude. He like it's like he wanted to be my friend or something. Because I was like, maybe I was living the life he wished he was living. I don't know. It was funny. So I'm gonna leave radar on here for a second. I'm gonna just turn my camera off and leave this here so that I can throw my food into the pan. I have not yet eaten. We're gonna keep watching this. There you go. Sorry. So watching this again, this has been the area I've been a little bit concerned about. This inflow notch. And look at this. We have something moving down there. We have some signs of rotation, I would say. Weak in the front of that. And certainly this is a storm that's churning a little bit. Even though, I mean, that's tough because the radar, it's not giving me anything totally exciting there, but we see right where this inflow notch seems to be, right below it. Where is it on here? I guess I'll go over here and do it. This section, okay. This section right here. Who lives there? That's still Lobo, is just past Lobo. And again, that's looking more and more interesting. I would be really concerned, anybody who's in front of this. We have a lot of farms. I'm going to just go back to single pane here. A lot of farms in this area. I mean, this is suburb central. I mean, look at that. Roads going everywhere. That's coming into London, Ontario, into the suburbs now. So anybody you know in the suburbs of London, Ontario. North side. Tiny little cell here. That's not the one. Don't be fooled by that guy if you're in London right now. You're probably looking here, downtown London, and you're thinking, no, it's this guy up here. This guy up here I'm really concerned about. I think that's anybody living in that area, I'd be really concerned. Go back and check our velocity again, see if we see anything in here. Still just some strange little spikes going on right along Highway 22. In behind this, we got an area of maybe weak rotation going on in here. Coming into the London, Ontario suburbs. Out in front of the storm, it would seem. However, you know, this is kind of your storm really here, right? So it's in kind of the proper area for where those kinds of things might develop, right, in a sense, in relation to these cells. So that's why I am a little bit concerned about this. And the fact that it's maintained that kind of look for quite a while coming through there. Like, this hasn't just been a couple radar frames. This image, that inflow image, has been there for quite a while. We see it first developing near Poplar Hill 20 minutes plus ago, moving through Poplar Hill towards Lobo, and now we get that. That is who I am watching right now. This severe thunderstorm warning, it expires in 40 minutes. There's nothing going on there now. So I don't know why we still have that severe warning on Sarnia. I don't think they're done necessarily seeing weather today. And here's our next area of concern. So even though I don't think that Sarnia's warning is warranted at the moment, truth is these guys will be here quicker than you think coming into Southern Ontario, and some of these are moderately strength cells. We have marine weather statements for Lake Erie here. What does that say? Strong thunderstorms, 13 miles north nautical miles. So that's going on. Am I on the latest feed? Yes. Wind gusts 40 knots, so that's strong. Radar indicated small craft, look out. So that's crossing into Windsor area. The storms that are associated with this. We got two different marine statements. There we go. We just got an update in the radar. So we see some of these guys moving into Windsor right now. I would call them good-looking storms. So watch for possible warnings to start going up in this area in the next little while in Canada, in Southern Ontario, in the Windsor area. Detroit, probably going to get some of that. We got this cell right here. Definitely going to push towards Lake St. Clair. And looks like it's almost on a repeat of the line that we're seeing right now, that severe warning hitting London, Ontario. A little bit of a difference on American radar. We really see where that cell is. It's far out, so we're not getting the same definition. If we go back to Cassett, now we can see, and again, we see that area still holding that kind of shape, right? There you go. Oops, that's over top of north of London now. That's been moving fast. Some areas of concern in there. Again, I don't think we do have some weak radar indicated rotation. I think that's going on. That's what I'm interpreting some of that on the leading front of that storm. The storm's coming through, and it's feeding on this, what seems like the backside of this cell, which is really connected along the cells. I don't know why anybody would phone me. Something else that's going on here, I would call this a weak bow echo. So if you are in Shakespeare, just seen it, New Hamburg, Baden, St. Agatha, you might see some strong wind gusts come along this front in the next few minutes. That's along that Highway 7 in Western Ontario. Yeah, I would suggest that the winds here are pretty good. So on the front of that thunderstorm line, oh yeah, here you go. Look at this. That is what you would call a real nice gust front. Interesting. So that's moving its way towards Kitchener fairly quickly. Strong line of winds going all the way down. Yeah, there's your definite. So where I saw that kind of bow echoey looking shape leading out in the front line of these storms, that seems to have some real strong wind, and then we still have this seeming area of weak rotation that's been coming along the bottom of this storm here. Go back to have a look. There it is. Strong thunderstorm with a tail. So tail is always something to look for, definitely. New severe thunderstorm warning, Canada. And what did I say? Here it is. Here we go. There's the radar on it. Up to nickel size hail. Environment Canada is a meteorologist tracking a line of severe thunderstorms producing a cape of very strong winds and up to nickel size hail. And yeah, that looks pissed off. Right there. That looks pissed off. McGregor, Essex County, southwestern Ontario. Windsor, just south of you. It's going to cross the 401 in the next 20 minutes. And then we'll head to Lake St. Clair, kind of cross. But it's going to make a similar path to what we've already seen go through. So this is kind of interesting to me. This line of strong thunderstorms, right, come in the exact same direction that this line has already passed through. So, you know, it's not one of those days where when the thunderstorms go by, you can say, okay, good, we're done. And if you have friends, you know, we basically called this one, we were, you know, looking at the special marine statements and saying that this is going to pop a severe storm in southern Ontario. I need to buy more RAM to make my computer faster. So that is something that's been going on with me. Heavy rain core in there. I think that's the guy to watch for the next little while. That's the storm that I think is probably the most pissed off at this point right now. Granted, some of the winds on this line that have just passing through London now are exciting. We'll have a look from Cassett. That's that strong thunderstorm we've seen. It probably has a little bit of hail possible in it now. It went through north of London. Now we have this next guy who's kind of tailed in behind. He's broken free. There's strong winds coming straight into London, Ontario right now at this minute. So here's your area of concern now. Approaching Kitchener. Definitely through Elmira, and then going to head to Guelph after that. And then your next area of concern in through London here. Where we have some, again, what seems to be some real churning in the storm. You know, when I say weak rotation, I'm not, I don't think these are tornado producers necessarily. But anything spin up, you know. So if you are near these storms, I'd say especially right now, strong wind gusts coming out of London, and then we have this other guy down here in southern Ontario who's now kind of broken free, and he's on his own. And if he can stay free and get more free, that should be all he needs to get spinning some, right? So it's the guys who are isolated that can do that. Strong winds again, just along the north side of the 401, heading towards Windsor. So those are some of the guys we're looking for. And of course, this severe storm right now in southern Ontario. So it's 3 severe storm warnings in Ontario right now. And even though they haven't dropped the warning for the Sarnia area, or maybe they have. Yep. Okay, so this is just for this area in behind. Yeah, those are some interesting looking radar shots. These guys here might this one, and now it's going to expire in 3 hours and 47 minutes, they're saying. The line of severe thunderstorms located over Michigan is moving northeast at 100 kilometers an hour, right? Hazard, 90-kilometer-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail. So this impacted areas: Windsor, Amherstburg, Tecumseh, LaSalle, South Windsor, McGregor, Windsor Airport. That's some fucking ridiculous winds, man. Like, don't mess around with this. do not mess around, and we cannot rule out tornado. But even if you don't have a tornado hit your area, a line of 100-kilometer-an-hour winds is um, could make widespread what would be sort of the equivalent of like EF0, EF1 damage or whatever, right? Like you can get some real serious damage to your home and life and property. And this storm just north of McGregor and south of Windsor, that looks real, and it's just crossing the 401 now. There's your latest radar update. So if you are in any of this area in southern Ontario, look out. Our next warning is this guy in the middle that expires in 54 minutes. We did have one next door to it for Sarnia, Petrolia area. It kind of bumped over to here, but I would think that as these guys here get stronger and stronger, oops, these are already some pretty pissed off looking storms. So expect in through Chatham, this guy might turn into something as it comes ashore. These are cells to really watch out for in Ontario right now. Everybody who lives in southern Ontario, I'd be paying attention to the weather, but people don't. And I'm sure that's why I haven't looked to see for a while how many people are watching the stream right now. But I know my home province never paid that much attention to the weather. Man, some of the fronts of these storms, next in line, Dorchester, Nilestown, Belmont, you are probably going to see some meaty winds along that front. And this is the last thunderstorm warning. It has been reissued. Doesn't say much. 2:45 p.m. A lot of severe thunderstorms in Ontario. Doesn't give us much on that. But I can tell looking at the radar that some of these areas are probably pissed off. Thamesford, Embro, I'd consider strong winds about to hit you. Very strong winds. All on that front. Kitchener now. Anywhere in this area, probably some pretty strong winds coming in right now. New Dundee, Plattsville, probably some pretty good gusts along the front of those storms. Got a little cell developing in Brantford. Not very deep. These are the guys we're really watching. The line, it's, I don't think tornado development is really the story in that line. I think the story in this line is just possibility of damaging winds. But some of these areas are spooky. We've seen a lot of strange things tailing along, and the way the storm line's moving is sort of atypical. So you can't necessarily rule out that if you were in an area where the radar starts looking like this, that because this weather's sort of let's watch this storm for a second. Too many animations. Okay, so I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we really have this wedge as you have this sort of like inflow, here's your feeding, here's your line of storms, and then you have this sort of like dry area that it's clashing with, and it's, in one way, if you're standing on the ground, it would look like the clouds in some ways you'd perceive to be moving this way. In other ways, you perceive them to be moving right towards you, and that's exactly correct. Some of these areas along the front, Thamesford, Embro, I would say interesting wind in that area right now. I would mostly Definitely expect that. London, Ontario, it's mostly past you now, this line. So congratulations. The worst of it's probably over. Kitchener, you are about to get your turn. And I would say St. Jacobs. That's up where that oh my St. Jacobs is where they have that Mennonite buffet restaurant that has like 500 things in it. That's what I was trying to get at. And if I ever can go eat anywhere in the world again, have my one choice, that might be one of the choices I'd pick. That was quite the buffet they had there on a Sunday morning. So, and of course, the Kitchener Waterloo farmers market's massive. It's a farm heavy area. Kitchener, you're about to see it. Plattsville, Woodstock, it's coming quick. It's coming quick. Again, one of these like notches that sticks out. Has like, seems like it's feeding in a little bit. The storm south of London, it's pretty aggressive right now. Most definitely. Let's go back to our other storm story here. These storms, Windsor's probably getting it now, and it looks like, well, the radar won't give us a larger feed of that, so let's find a better radar site. What do you got for us, KDTX? It's a long range site. Nice. And here's that area of thunderstorms that's kind of already on the other side of Windsor. Windsor, you're on the edge of it now. And we just see sort of, you know, there's a cell kind of just north of, and we see where these are going to go into the sort of Chatham County area. Now that's what we're watching for. 3 severe thunderstorm warnings in Canada right now. Nickel-sized hail, ping pong's possible, and we're not out of this by a long stretch. I'm going to go and check my food. Good, we're getting lightning feedback on finally. I don't know why. For a while there was like no lightning feeds, no lightning imagery at all. So I'm hoping this is back up and running lightning. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to go and flip my food. Okay, I'm already back. Here's our lightning activity in Ontario right now. Over the last hour. So lots in southeastern Ontario. Those storms aren't particularly aggressive, but that's just a lot of instability right where the clash is between the freezing rain line that we saw and the thunderstorm convective line, more or less. And now we see some of those storms along that line, that sort of gust fronty line, not that crazy necessarily. And not seeing a lot of lightning right now through that line that goes through Guelph, Kitchener. So wind is really your concern, I think, at this moment. These guys moving into southern Ontario that are kind of near Chatham now. Lightning detector says it's would give you the impression it's moving towards Chatham. I feel like Environment Canada's done a really good job in updating their site, but this is probably something that they could improve on, is this lightning detection network. It's cheesy. I mean, at this point, and I'm sure they know that. Okay, let's have a look what's going on here. No, that's not what I wanted to do. So, rainfall warning now, 75 to 100 millimeters. That's going on all along the Bruce Peninsula up to Tobermory. Rainfall warning right now for this wide stretch. So it looks like those severe thunderstorm warnings, I don't know why they haven't been dropped, but we 30 to 50 millimeters, locally higher amounts where areas receive thunderstorms. So I think it was important to go back to Environment Canada and see what they're saying. So it's back to severe thunderstorm watches through southern Ontario with 90 kilometer an hour. Tornado watch now issued. Okay, this is the first time I've seen this. Tornado watch issued. Wind gusts near 100 kilometer an hour. Hail up to ping pong size. Tornadoes timing this afternoon. So this is all those storms we've been watching right now in that Lake St. Clair area down to Windsor. Thunderstorms over Michigan are expected to track eastward into Ontario. The Great Lakes are very cold at this time, so uncertainty how strong these thunderstorms could be. Should the temperatures of the lakes be overcome, a strong line of thunderstorms that may produce tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Thunderstorms are expected to move east of the area late this afternoon. Be prepared. So that's concerning. And severe thunderstorm watch again for those areas. So Sarnia, Goderich, and then through London up to Guelph. So the line of thunderstorms tracking over southern Ontario. This line's weakened, but maybe accompanied with strong wind gusts and hail. So we've seen that in the last 20 minutes. These warnings were dropped, and the wind gusts that we were seeing on radar are the concern. And 90 kilometer an hour winds, that's pretty strong. So we know that is probably hitting Kitchener right about now. Strong wind, look out. And then we have our severe thunderstorm warning right now. That still continues. So that's for Windsor, Amherstburg, Tecumseh, LaSalle, South Windsor, McGregor, and Windsor Airport. This is located over Michigan. It's moving northeast at 100 kilometers an hour. Emergency Management Ontario recommends you take cover immediately if severe weather approaches. So these are the ones we're really concerned about now. And we'll get out of this and just go to this amalgamated radar image. I find it helpful. And I have to grab my toast here just to give us an idea where where this is all at. And how it's been moving. So that's our guy. We don't know exactly what's going to pop out of here. I don't know if anyone's watching or not. Hey, Christine. Right on. Hit like, share, subscribe. You know, that would help me. Anybody out there? And maybe it'll help somebody you know. Close the window. Go back to display. Let's have a look at how our guys are doing here. Tornado watch in effect. This is very serious concerns And these storms aren't really that pretty right now. So, it's a roll of the dice. Will it happen or will it not? Already that line of storms is already it's already past Kitchener and Cambridge. They got Ayr and Woodstock. Woodstock getting it right now. Not much lightning anymore. Those thunderstorms really choked off. So that's telling. But it's been like constantly. We got thunderstorms going on all through Eastern Ontario, freezing rain up there, and then we got this line that's kind of died off, but still producing strong winds, and a little bit of lightning going on down here in Southern Ontario. So maybe something will develop down there of interest. But really, our big story right now is tornado watch. And again, I'm not getting the lightning feeds I want. Tornado in Kentucky. Let's see what's going on here in Kentucky right now. I feel like anything that's happening in this line of storms is of concern to us because it's the same line of storms. Although it's down in Kentucky, this is a lot of the same energy and the same activity that's moving into Ontario. So we don't want to not pay attention to warnings like this. Because we haven't seen a lot of tornado warnings yet today. And now we are starting to hear some tornado talk. I don't know why my super res velocity radar's not working. Okay, I'm gonna get my egg here. You make a toad in the hole quickly. It's when you poke a hole in your toast and you fry the egg in the middle. It saves you having to use lots of utensils, and you don't even need a flipper for your eggs because the egg cooks in the toast. Just pick up the toast. So I don't know why I got no velocity images here. Kentucky. Where our tornado warning storm is. Way too damn hot. I feel like my computer needs a restart. Everything's being slow. I put this thing through a lot of work. Yeah. There we go. We got no... It's just taking its time. I don't see a lot of definition in these storms. so far. I would keep an eye on this. Straight line winds for North Woodsley, Cottam, Kingsvale. You could see this. It looks like the storm's developing further. And again, you have that, whenever you get that bit of a bow shape, you know that's winds pushing. So I think that's our story right now. Some of these storms will move in again to Sarnia. Be ready against Sarnia today. And all down the river, Detroit River. Anybody on the Canadian side of Lake St. Clair who might be watching this? I have not eaten yet today, and it feels so good to put a piece of toast and an egg in my mouth. Yeah, these storms are going to push into southern Ontario still. So expect some new statements to get issued into this area, whether that's a new watch or a new warning. You aren't done yet today. Here's a pretty strong little squall. Small and on its own. But these two cells, I'm going to skip right along the Lake Erie coast. St. Thomas, Elmer, Port Stanley. Area south of London. Might see that. So you're not done. You might have some thunderstorm activity yet today. In the next hour or so. Definitely got more lightning showing up now. Not well developed. I don't think these storms are tornado producers. So that's good. And if the line continues on through, we might get lucky through this one. I'd be a little concerned right now, McGregor. Looks like a little bit like some rotation or something's going on in here. This is sort of an interesting area. Not clearly or very well defined. But definitely on the velocity scans, we're seeing that there's how to explain this best to you. Let's go find the radar site itself. So it's somewhere up here, right? I don't answer the phone. It's somewhere up here. And then, so what it's measuring is the direction relative to the radar, right? So these red ones it's measuring are going out. But these ones it's measuring are coming in, right? Green means towards you, red means away. And then, so we have this area where there's a weak dance going on there. Certainly if you're in McGregor, one people in McGregor, that's something I'd be a little nervous about. And it's well inside the storm at the back. I don't see any classic hooks or define. But, the thing I try to get across to people in Canada is that, we get sidetracked by the idea of the tornado, but so many strong thunderstorms don't produce tornadoes, but they produce damaging winds and they produce big hail and downbursts and plow winds and things that can come out of a storm. And this cell that we've been looking at, that's kind of over McGregor, where that sort of nervous area is, it's developed strong enough to get kind of its own track of its own. So where's this going? Comber, North Woodsley. If you're in Essex, Staples, Tilbury, not far off, these are your areas of concern. Most assuredly. It seems to me like that's really the best radar right now to be looking at for these ones. We can switch radar and go look at this guy. A couple aggressive little storms. I don't know what's going on here. Hail or something. That's curious. Port Stanley still looking in the next hour at being hit by another squall. We'll have a closer look. We need another radar angle to get a better look at these guys, I think. So this is set to expire in 3 hours from now. So that means Environment Canada considers the next 3 hours to be the concern. And over here, I bet you if I could jump over and look at public alerts. I'm just curious how that's changed. So the severe storm warning has been dropped now in that Chatham area. Tornado watch has been dropped. We're still up to a severe thunderstorm watch, hail, nickel size, 90-kilometer-hour winds. So, and no watch right now still for Sarnia area. So they don't seem to think that's going to cross into Sarnia with any anger. Severe thunderstorm watch continues still along Hamilton, Burlington, down to Fort Erie, all the way across into London. Severe thunderstorm watch continues. Kitchener, Waterloo, and then north of there is all rainfall warnings. And then into Eastern Ontario, rainfall warnings, freezing rain warnings still continue. And the further you go into the Ottawa Valley, freezing rain still. That's going to be the big story for Quebec and all places east of. So I think now that this tornado watch has been dropped, I'm going to take a little break and all the severe thunderstorm warnings are dropped and say thanks for coming by, and I'll let you know if something fucked up happens the next little while. But keep your eye on there and get radar scope of your own. You don't have to get the $150 fucking all the upgrade packages I got to still be able to learn how to use radar. In fact, by sitting here with me, we're learning together. I'm getting better and better at this still. I mean, I've understood radar for a long time, but I've never spent so much time looking at radar as I have lately. So I'm improving as I go too. Okay, everyone be safe out there. We'll talk to you soon.